Hi and welcome back to the Sci-Fi Shed. Tonight I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've just received this parcel from the good old postman, and it's a bit of a book haul, something I bought online. So I thought I'd open it with you and just share my latest sci-fi book haul and see what we've got here. So it's all live. I haven't opened this before, so let's just open it up and see what we have. It's almost like a kid in a candy store. So let's just get it open. A bit of packaging. So I'm going to make a mess, but I promise I'll clean up. Don't tell anyone. Okay, they're well packaged. What have we got? Talk about packaging. No wonder we're killing the environment. But at least the books are in good shape. Okay. So yeah, they're also bubble wrapped and shrink wrapped in a lot of fibre, it looks like. So what do we have? First off, Arthur C. Clarke's, what is that? Earthlight? I can't remember if I read this one before. But Arthur C. Clarke is always good value, so I don't think we're going to be disappointed. Let me just get myself right, eh? Yes, Earthlight. What's this about? Maybe I should have planned this a little bit better so I can read and you can read. 2 centuries. What is that? 2 centuries from now, there may be men who do not owe allegiance to any nation on earth or even earth itself. I'm not wearing my glasses, but that's going to be a good book. I'm sure of it. And I may have read that before. Actually, I've read a lot of Arthur C. Clarke, so I'll be surprised if I haven't read that one already. Just a bit of a side note. When the Kindle first came out, the e-reader, the first e-reader, I pretty much downsized my book collection because we were making way for a growing family, and unfortunately I had to sell and get rid of a lot of my science fiction books. But over the years, I've often regretted that decision, so I've only just recently started buying hardbacks again. I've got like thousands of books on my e-reader, but there's nothing like the tangible feel of paper in your hand. So now that I've got a little bit more space in the shed, I can start accumulating some of these again. Beyond Tomorrow, I think this is just a collection of short stories. Yeah, I think it is. Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke, Robert Heinlein, Henry Kuttner, Alan Nurse, Clifford D. Seamak, great, Don Stewart, Van Vogt, and Kate Wilhelm. There you go, Kate Wilhelm. I've only just finished a Kate Wilhelm review, so some more Kate Wilhelm, which is good. Yeah, just a series of short fiction there. Fritz Leiber, Swords Against Death. Now Fritz Leiber won a Hugo. Can't remember what year it was, but it was he won a Hugo for The Big Time, which was a pretty decent novel. So I haven't read this one. What's that? When Farhad the Barbarian and the Grey Mouse are the 2 greatest adventurers who ever lived, or ever will live in any of the many universes, lose their first loves. Okay, sounds like a fantasy. The second in the series of Farhad and the Great Mauser Saga. Farid? I'm not sure. Have any of you guys read this one? I haven't read it. Sounds more like fantasy than it does science fiction, but we'll take a look at that. Charles Harness is the next one. The Ring of Returnal. I haven't read a whole lot of Charles Harness, I must admit, but I do know that he was nominated multiple times for Hugos and Nebulas for his novella work, but he's not actually won a Hugo or a Nebula. Yeah, so this will be new to me. Interested in if any of you have read this guy and what you think of him. But yeah, Charles Harness. Moorcock, probably not a surprise to many. He's written so many books. Moorcock was a British writer. I think he's still alive. He was also a pretty proficient musician. I haven't read a whole lot of his work, I must admit. So the second volume in the Dances at the End of Time trilogy. I wonder if I'll lose the essence of it by starting with the second one. But yeah, let's go through the next lot. More bubble wrap. Jeez, it's well wrapped, I gotta give them that. And shrink wrapped again. And what do we have here? Really good packaging, I gotta say. I'm pretty pleased. And the condition of the books look to be pretty good too. So what's this one? Lee Brackett? The Nemesis from Terra. Author of the Sword of Rhiannon. I really should have worn my glasses for this one. Brackett. I haven't seen much of Lee Brackett. Lee Brackett. Is that Lee Brackett? I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was a screenwriter. I'm pretty sure she was a screenwriter, Lee Brackett. Yeah, and I think she was involved with Empire Strikes Back. Something in the back of my mind recalls her being, if it's the right person I'm thinking of, she was, she did one of the sequels for Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. And I'm not quite sure if it was ever made it to film, but yeah, something in the back of my mind tells me that's who that person is. Don't know much about it though. Next one is Harry Harrison. The Stainless Steel Rat. Harry Harrison. Ah, Harry Harrison. How could I forget Harry Harrison? Harry Harrison. What was it? Soylent Green. The book Soylent Green. What was the name of it? Make Room. Make Room. Make Room. From Soylent Green. So I've read a fair bit of Harry Harrison actually over the years. Not a fair bit. A couple of his novels. But more Make Room. Make Room was the last one I read, and that was an enjoyable read. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. The Stainless Steel Rat. Joanne de Vinge. What's this one? What's that? The Outcasts of Heaven Belt. Joanne de Vinge won a Hugo. I think it was 81 from the top of my head for The Snow Queen. So she's a pretty good author. I'm sure that'll be a good read as well. Moorcock, some more Moorcock. Behold the Man. I love the cover art on this one though. What's it about? Carl Clarke, obsessed with the bright silver crucifix that dangles around the little girl's neck, tortured by his growing sexuality and the overwhelming mystic power of religion. Okay, should be interesting. This is perhaps the most controversial portrait of Christ ever painted. Interesting. Very interesting. I think I might start reading that very soon. If you're interested in seeing my review on that, even though it's not on the Hugo Nebula, I'm more than happy to go through that. But that sounds interesting. Yeah, it does sound interesting to me. John Wyndham, The Seeds of Time. So this is the guy, you know. I talked about him literally in the last review. The Midwich Cuckoos, the Triffids, what was the other one? Chrysalids. They're the three that sort of come to mind immediately. The Seeds of Time. Yes, another great author. I have enjoyed his works over the years. Anne McCaffrey, Dragon Drums. Yeah, I haven't been a huge fan of Anne McCaffrey. I'm not generally a big fan of fantasy, but I did remember, I think I'm pretty sure I read Anne McCaffrey when I was in my teenage years, and yeah, not much for dragons, but I might give it a go. Maybe this is the one that will sway me. Are you guys, any of you people out there, when I say guys, I mean that in the non-binary sense. Do you guys read McCaffrey? Any interesting book? I don't know, let me know. This is the last lot. More bubble wrap, more shrink wrap. There we go. Jeez, it's really good packaging. Probably can't hear me over all this rattling. Alright, but the books are in pretty good decent order, man. I'm actually happy with that. So Barrington J. Bailey. Don't know anything about Barrington. Soul of Robot? Barrington Bailey? We are your parents, the wife said in a hesitant, hopeful voice. We made you, you are our son. Jabberthus, the hulking bronze-black all-purpose robot they had created, laughed harshly and moved across the room to the door. Opening it, he walked out of their lives. an iRobot type book. Actually, that sounds interesting. I know. Who was it? Sturgeon that said that 90% of science fiction is crud, but then again 90% of everything is crud. So maybe that's the 10% that is not crud. Let's have a look. E.C. Tubb Eloise. No, E.C. Tubb in the novel's called Eloise. Humorist of Terror 12. Interesting cover. Now, I don't know much about Tubb, but I do know that this Humorist of Terror series spans something like 40 years. I'm not sure what. Oh, this is number 12 in the series. So the whole series spanned something like 40 years, and I've not read any of his books, and I'm not sure by starting in number 12 whether or not it's going to do the whole series this justice. But interested, if any of you have read this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The cyber prime had a problem. The vast combination of disembodied intelligences he controlled was in trouble. There was a solution, but it remained as an equation in the mind of just one man, the one who wrote Humorist. And Humorist hated the cyber. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. Sturgeon, the Dreaming Jewels. We were just talking about, I literally just said about him, that 90% of all science fiction is crud, but then again everything is 90% crud. Sturgeon coined that. I have read Sturgeon before, and I've read a lot of his short stories. So what's this one? The Dreaming Jewels. I don't think I've read this one. I do love the cover art though, and the book is in pretty decent nick actually. Science fiction, fantasy. What's to say? Here for the, sorry. Here, I can't. I got the light glaring in my eyes. Here for the jeez, my glasses. Here for the connoisseur, for the devotee of this sci-fi genre. Blah blah blah. The Dreaming Jewels. Comments below. Yeah, this is the one I read by Sturgeon. More Than Human. This was interesting. I enjoyed it, and I think from memory, it was like written in the view of 4 or 5 different people who had these special abilities, and they were trying to come to grips with what they were and how humanity was going to change. And I do recall enjoying it, but this was years ago. I must have read it like, I don't know, 20 years ago. What's it say in the back? The coming of the Superman without a super ego. Take 6 people, extraordinary people, and stir in the melting pot of creation. Take away the human frailties, burnish their strengths, and create a Superman. Homer Gestalt, the last step in man's evolution. Now step back and learn the meaning of fear. Ooh, scary. Yeah, I have read this one. Can't remember much of it though, to be honest. Asimov needs no introduction. What's this one? The left hand of the electron. Yeah, and I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah, good. Yeah, that's it, eh? So look, just thought I'd do something a little bit different. I do get bundles like this from time to time as I'm rebuilding the collection I had on my electronic devices. So if this was of interest, and if you'd like to see a review of any one of these books, please drop me a note and I'll try to do that as soon as I can. Well, thanks again, and I've been Peter, and thanks for joining me in the shed.